City officials say recycling centers like this one are supposed to help people easily recycle their plastic grocery bags. But too many of them are still ending up in the trash. The goal behind the Gentlemen's Campaign is to raise awareness, and they're using these t-shirts to help spark a conversation around domestic violence. The fastest way for a fire hydrant to freeze is if this cap isn't screwed on correctly. That means any remaining water in the shaft will turn to ice and freeze up the water main the next time a fire crew tries to use it. More than 100 students have taken a pledge here today to be aware of sexual assault and to step in if they see it happening.
There's 4 on that pole and 2 here. No, that's good enough. Just leave them.
Jim Caswell is clipping these new flags onto fresh white ropes. It's a task he's done twice a year for nearly a decade. But he credits this particular job to vandals.
I couldn't really believe it. It was such a blow to think somebody would do what they did.
This was the scene courthouse workers found early Tuesday morning.
I immediately came in town and I couldn't believe my eyes.
10 flags were cut down and knifed to shreds or stolen. One pole was pushed over, broken, and strewn across the lawn.
You'll use this top one?
But today, 8 volunteers worked to restore the broken pieces, all ahead of Veterans Day.
You just drive by it sometime and say, you know, you're a little bit overwhelmed. You know, I was able to accomplish that, and with the help of so many.
It's not 100% right now, but the flags are flying, and that's what I wanted.
The plaque in front of the flag recognizes fallen soldiers from Jones County. Volunteers say thankfully those names weren't defaced, but the rest of the repair will come at a cost.
It's going to be in the range of $2,000.
Monetary donations have already flooded in to cover that dollar amount, both from individuals and veterans groups.
It's just treasure to our community, and I think, you know, throughout anyone who sees it.
Volunteers will install brand new poles in the spring. In Anamosa, Sarah McCarthy, KCRG TV 9 News.
Okay.
Skip Neal, Paul Gallardo, Aaron Robertson, Bob Olson, Rusty Russell.
More than 50 volunteers took shifts at this podium on the steps of the old Capitol in Iowa City. They read these, thousands of names from dawn until dusk. They're all names of Americans who have lost their lives to AIDS.
David McIntosh,
Clayton Beckwith,
Eric Garbett,
Reggie Garcia. If you read in the paper, oh, John Doe died of AIDS, well, what does that mean to you? But when you actually hear somebody reading that name out loud, to me, that's such a much more significant thing. Will Parker.
Jennifer Montgomery is one of the volunteers calling out the list of names. She worked in healthcare after high school. She's here to remember one of her very first patients, a man who died from the disease when the AIDS epidemic first started.
It was so scary to think about that, and you see all these meds he had to take, and he was like a skeleton.
The name reading is a part of I See Red Week, a week-long campaign to raise awareness around AIDS.
It's still something that affects people every day, and lots of progress has been made, but there's still room for improvement.
Learn about the epidemic itself, learn how it's affecting Iowans, and learn how education and awareness efforts can be brought home and also abroad.
David Brown.
Montgomery says she hopes her time at the podium will send a message to those walking by.
It affects so many people that we may not even hear about, we may not even know about, because there's such a stigmatism with it still, and I want to be a part of stopping that stigmatism.
In Iowa City, Sarah McCarthy, KCRG TV 9 News. A week ago, Dale Atwood made a frantic call to police when he realized his pet cat Dolly was severely hurt. Help arrived too late to save the animal, but one Cedar Rapids officer went above and beyond to put a smile back onto the cat owner's face.
She loved getting on my lap.
Dale Atwood doesn't have family members in Iowa and spends most of his time in his apartment. But for the last 6 years, his black cat Dolly has been by his side.
Drill their little head on there and their paws on my hand.
But last Wednesday, Dale accidentally sat in his recliner, not knowing Dolly had crawled underneath.
I felt bad.
When he realized Dolly was hurt badly, he called police. Shortly after, Officer Andrew Tran knocked on Dale's door.
I go into his apartment and he had the recliner tipped to the side, and it looked like he made some efforts to remove some bolts and screws from the recliner.
Tran called the fire department to remove the cat's body, but he wanted to do more.
I knew he had a lot of love for Dolly. I mean, he's got pictures of Dolly on the wall, and I realized that this is family to him.
He called me one day and told me he was going to get a kitty for me. And I said, I'd like to have a black one, like Dolly.
After a week of making calls and visiting the animal shelter, Tran was back at Dale's door, this time with this little guy.
This kitty, it really took over.
Dale named her Frosty the Snowman, and so she settled right in.
You name the toys on the floor.
And his new friend, Officer Tran, plans to stop in and check on both Dale and Frosty soon. In Cedar Rapids, Sarah McCarthy, KCRG TV9 News. Contractors Dave Vanis and Wes Howard have built most of the homes in the Red Rock Additions development, including this one at 6425 Deerstone Drive Southwest. And when the homes here started selling, they wanted to use this house behind me to share their success with the community.
We're always thinking about a way to do more, so this was our idea to do more.
We had this lot available and we said, geez, now's the time to do that.
They're going to pour the front stoop here.
Once this home sells, the two are giving away every penny of profit. It's going to a new Ronald McDonald family room at St. Luke's in Cedar Rapids that's set to open in January. And the foundation under their idea to donate? An 8th grader named Jack.
Well, it all started with the I Know Jack fundraisers.
Wes and I have always gone to that, and a couple years ago when we started this edition, we started talking about it'd be neat to do something like this.
Yeah. Jack and his parents from Cedar Rapids stayed at the Ronald McDonald House at Mayo Clinic in Rochester after Jack was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2004. Now they're happy the organization will be helping other families closer to home.
See how they're polishing that up right there, Jack?
Vanis and Howard are calling this the house that Jack built. The nuts and bolts will all be in place in about 2 months. They're listing it for $225,000. But Jack's mom says this half-finished home is already priceless.
For them to come to us with this amazing, amazing donation, I can't say enough of how overwhelming it is.
The builders say thousands of dollars of labor and materials have been donated by subcontractors, and the project wouldn't be possible without that community of support. In Cedar Rapids, Sarah McCarthy, KCRG TV9 News.